I go off on another tangent. You know, old hounds tell me I'm always going off on tangents. Anyway, my father's Argonauts rowing club branched out into other sports, including football, and that team became the Argonauts of today. It was the end of the big commotion. Everybody shook hands. But it was the beginning of something else. See, it had brought this mixed bunch of kids together in the Archbishop's billiard room. I found myself telling this gang about my intense love for Canada and how my father had been a founder of the Argonauts Rowing Club and how their motto was, pull together. Pull together. No greater motto for young people living in Regina. Well, I should have stopped then, but I kept on going. I was telling them, I know how young people love sports. We'll rent a clubhouse, and we'll go in for hockey and lacrosse and baseball and football. And we won't talk up religion that much. Well, we did all that. And the Argonauts grew to 100 kids. And we played exhibitions and tournaments all over the prairies. I even took a baseball team on a tour of Ontario and Quebec one summer. And if you think 3 is a crowd, try 15 baseball players and 2 cars. Now, I know you will find this hard to believe, but the Argos Athletic Club was the start of Notre Dame. The Argos were step 1. So let's move on to step 2. In 1927, I was appointed parish priest at Wilcox. Well, I went around saying goodbye to all the Argos, and damned if 15 of the boys didn't say they were coming with me. We'd made money at hockey exhibitions and ball tours, and they wanted to keep on doing it. Well, strangely, it turned out to be physically possible. The parish house was the biggest in town. It had belonged to a prosperous merchant in the early days. Now, it had a glassed-in veranda on 2 sides and a big stable behind. Now, Wilcox is only about 30 miles from Regina, and the parents were all willing, though they weren't all Catholic. Well, now the boys scrounged old lumber and hammered up bunks in every spare corner. And they pitched in on housekeeping and kitchen duties. And for a bachelor establishment, it wasn't bad. Well, no worse than a railroad construction camp. Now, there were plenty of old broken-down trucks around, and I got one to take us to games. And the gang built a box on the flatbed, and they called it the doghouse. Now, we often slept in the doghouse. I had to find somebody else to drive the thing, though. For some damn reason, I never got the hang of driving an automobile. Now, summer and winter, we'd go as far as Alberta and Manitoba with the doghouse. But you know, all play and no work makes a young fellow just as dull as all work and no play. I made the boys read the great books and discuss and debate the ideas. Now, most of these guys had finished high school, but some of them hadn't. And just at this moment, the nuns who ran the elementary school in Wilcox were opening a high school, a 1-room high school in a vacant furniture store, and make a note of the name that the sisters had chosen for their high school. It was Notre Dame.